checking out HPI Racing's newest version of their Venture18 platform. This is a licensed replica of the Ford Bronco Ultra 4 4400 race truck piloted by Lauren Healy. There is a Vaughn Gittin Jr. color scheme available as well that looks really cool. Each of these appearance packages are offered as a ready-to-run brushed or brushless version, but today we're taking a look at the brushed version. In the box, this Venture18 U4 comes with the same 6-channel transmitter that we saw in the original Hilux version of the Venture18, and this is an excellent radio from my experience. This vehicle also comes with an optional thumb steer adapter, a cross wrench, a USB LiPo charger, and the instruction manual with some additional paperwork. Taking a look around at what's new, we have an officially licensed Ford Bronco Lexan body with a bunch of sponsor decals scattered throughout, just like the full-size version of the truck. With about 15 screws, this body's held to a molded plastic roll cage underneath that has some nice detail. A couple of the screws that hold the body on are actually hidden under some decals, so you'll have to either peel back or cut through the decals in order to access them. Within the roll cage, there's a black plastic interior with a couple of driver figures along with some decals to bring it to life. Up front, there's a low-profile plastic bumper that should provide a very steep approach angle, which is nice to see. Just above that, we have an LED light strip that sits in a plastic housing that's cleverly made to look like a row of Rigid Industries light pods. This light bar can be controlled using the Channel 3 button on the transmitter. If you install a set of optional LED lights in the light bar that's located just above the windshield, those can be controlled with the Channel 3 button as well. Peeking out of the back of this truck, there is a functional spare tire. These new Trail Blaster tires appear to be modeled after the Nitto Trail Grappler tires that are on the full-size version. They're pretty soft and have a light foam on the inside, so it seems like they'll provide some solid traction. They're mounted on some 3-piece plastic beadlock wheels that are painted to match the body. They also have removable center caps to hide the wheel nuts, which is always a nice touch. Right underneath the spare tire and back, twisting this little tab allows you to lift up the rear of the body and cage to easily access the inside of the truck. The body hinges in the front this time and stays attached to the vehicle, so you don't have to worry about unplugging the front light bar. As for the electronics inside, this brushed version comes with a 3-in-1 ESC, receiver, and light controller setup that's hooked up to a 55-turn 180 size motor. It's worth mentioning that the brushless version of this truck does come with the updated waterproof electronics right out of the box that they converted the Hilux version over to. Since this Ultra 4 truck has more of an open wheel design, HPI had to tweak the layout of the electronics a bit in order to get everything to fit under the smaller body. The 3-in-1 unit is mounted on a platform that's located above the shift servo for the 2-speed transmission. In addition, the 2S LiPo battery now sits in a tray located in the very back of the truck instead of being mounted next to the rock sliders. The roll cage holds the battery in when you close the body, so you don't have to worry about a battery strap or any Velcro. HPI also mentions in the paperwork that the shocks received a small update. It looks like the lower caps now screw onto the bottom of the shock bodies instead of just snapping on, which is a welcome change. The rest of the truck remains your typical Venture18. This means that all of the brass and aluminum option parts made by HPI are already available for you to upgrade and customize this truck if you want. Since this Venture18 was made to look like an Ultra 4 truck, I figured I'd drive it like one. I had a blast ripping around with this thing in the dirt and hitting obstacles a lot harder than I usually would with a crawler. Although the suspension setup isn't entirely accurate, I think HPI did a great job of using their existing Venture18 platform to replicate the Bronco Ultra 4 4400. I'm a big fan of the steep approach and departure angles on this truck. Although you can feel the additional weight up top, it wasn't quite as bad as I was expecting. I feel like it still handles better than a hard body would. Adding a little brass down low will help offset that higher center of gravity and improve performance. Or you could just remove the spare tire if you're not concerned about looks. I did some speed testing with a GPS and found that this truck goes around 6 miles per hour in high gear out of the box. Keep in mind that this is the brushed version. Back when I tested the Venture18 Flux, I found that it was slightly quicker at around 8 miles per hour. Thanks to HPI Racing for sending this vehicle out prior to its release. Check out the links to this truck in the description, and I'll catch you in the next one.